Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. Welcome back to my playthrough of Apollo Ace Attorney Trilogy. So on this part, we're going to be continuing the trial, and I think that this is going to be the conclusion of Case 2. But let's continue from where we left off. Let's do it here. Tiala's our main suspect at this point. Alita, June 17, 9:52 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. This is it, the big day. Did you get any sleep? Yeah, I went to bed at 1 a.m. or so. What time did you wake up? 3 a.m. That's only 2 hours, Apollo. But at least you have me. And the amazing Mr. Hat. Here's looking at you, kid. Good luck today, Apollo. That voice. Hey, get any sleep? Mr. Wright. I was going out of my mind with boredom, so I signed myself out earlier today. Somehow that place, makes fake piano playing at the Indochine pasta joint seem almost fun. Daddy, do you know who Prosecutor Gavin's witness is today? Take a guess. How about Little Plum? Ah, that Sherman tank of a moon, nope, guess again. Is it Alita? Is she gonna be testifying? That's too bad, you know? Speaking of moms, you need to find me a new mommy one of these days, Daddy. It's barely morning, and you're at it already, Trucy. Hahaha. Okay, see, this is why I don't buy their father-daughter relationship. So, Mr. Wright, do you know who the prosecution's witness is? Alita Tiala, your client's fiancé. I knew it. I knew it. She's going to be a witness? But that seems odd. Why would she testify against her own fiancé? You have to wonder what Gavin's up to. Something's going down today, that much is clear. Well, not to worry, I've got my panties back. If we can't find a killer, I'll pull one out of there. Okay, it's a bit weird. Let's do it, the trial. June 17, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 4. Court is now in session for the trial of Walkie Kitaki. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution is warmed up, and it's a sold-out house. Very well, to recap. While yesterday's witness seemed more guilty than any other party, guilty of panty snatching, we did find out one thing for certain. There were 3 people in the park at the time of the murder. The witness, the victim, and the defendant. Correct, her judge. And today, I'd like to do something a little new age. I'd like to look at this horrible crime from the outside. The outside? The acquisition of the murder weapon, the preparation for the act. Our poor defendant told all, you see. Who is, betrothed. His betrothed? His fiancé, her judge. His partner for life, with no chance for parole. Very well, you may show the lucky lady to the stand. Your name and occupation, Fraulein. Yeah. Alita Tiala, my occupation is future wife. Yeah, so she just wants Walkie's money. She's waiting for him to drop dead from the bullet wound. That's near the bullet that's near his heart. Yeah, she's really messed up. She's actually evil. Traditional values. I respect that. Too many brides these days came and weave baskets blindfolded underwater. Yeah, traditional. He's really traditional. Yet you're here today as a witness for the prosecution. To be honest, I didn't want to testify at first, but I couldn't hide the truth. Honesty. Another admirable trait. Fraulein, is it true that on the day of the crime, the defendant, Walkie Kitaki, confessed his plans for murder? Yes. The witness will please give her testimony to the court. It was the day that the family health checkup results came back. When Walkie found out that Doctor Meraktis had lied, he flew into a rage. I'll teach him, he said. He took one of the family's pistols. And you already know what happened that night. I just don't see how anyone but Walkie could have done it. So the pistol did belong to the Kitaki family then. Yes, with regards to this, an investigation underway at the Kitaki mansion. On charges of the possession of illegal firearms. And the bullet that took the victim's life, was it fired from the pistol that the defendant procured? Yes, this has been proven. How can you prove something like that? It's ballistics, that's pretty much what it is. Ballistics, it's, the police will actually take the murder weapon and they'll test it and they can tell that it was from that specific firearm. Bullets carry marks from the barrel that fired them, called rifling marks. Rifling marks. Think of them as being a gun's fingerprint, left on every bullet it fires. And when did you first hear about Walkie's plan? It was the day of the murder. I should have stopped him. The thing is, though, is that if he told her that he was going to go murder somebody, but this is all BS, she's lying, but even if so, if this actually happened and he had told her that he was going to go murder somebody and she did not do anything about that, she didn't tell the police, that can make her an accessory. I just didn't think he would actually do it. Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination. It was the day that the family health checkup results came back. That was the day of the murder, correct? Yes, everyone in the family received their checkup results that day. When Walkie looked at his face, his face went so pale. But of course, he had just found out he had a bullet in his chest. So you were there at the time? Yes. Poor Walkie. When Walkie found out that Doctor Meraktis had lied, he flew into a rage. That must have been, quite frightening. He was furious. He ripped his report up into shreds. Incidentally, I had to request another copy to file as evidence. A bothersome chore, but one I performed without a complaint. Walkie's at an age where he's hard to control when he loses his temper. Of course, that little bit of instability is so cute. Right now he sounds like a psychopath. Honestly, she's way more like a psychopath. She's extremely manipulative. I'll teach him, he said. He took one of the family's pistols. So, is it easy to take a pistol out from the house? Not really, I think. There's a system in place to limit access. But Walkie's a special case, being the next in line. Perhaps his treatment was a bit too special, yeah? Well, maybe he is a bit spoiled. I hear he got amazing presents for his birthdays. Last year was a switchblade made out of chewing gum and a chocolate, gravestone. Sounds like he has a taste for sweets and danger. The point here being that Walkie had access to a pistol. And you already know what happened that night. No, we don't. What happened? Meaning the murder. I tried to stop him, I really did. But Walkie wouldn't listen. Our defendant was nothing if not determined, it seems. The last thing you should do is blame yourself, miss. Well, the thing about this is, like I said, is the judge would not be having sympathy for her because she could be tried pretty much as an accessory. The only time she's not going to be tried as an accessory is if she's given immunity. If she's given immunity to testify against somebody, then yes, that could possibly work. She could talk about stuff like that. But like I said, if she knew, and this is hours in advance, hours before he's going to go and commit a murder and she doesn't tell the police, she's pretty much an accessory at that point. I just don't see how anyone but Walkie could have done it. How can you say that for certain? How? Her forehead. You will refrain from badgering the Fraulein. It was the defendant, Walkie, was it, who took the pistol from his home. We know this for a fact now. I suppose we do. So how could anyone else have used this pistol to shoot the victim? They could not. Simple logic, yeah? That does seem to be the case. Does the defense have anything to say regarding this point? Could someone else have used that pistol? Yeah, because the fingerprints were wiped. Based on your testimony, there was clearly another. One other person had access to that pistol. What's this? Interesting. Let's ask the defense then. Tell the court who this other person with access was. Woman who requested I defend her fiancé as her description. Alita Tiala. Okay, her. Well, of course, I mean, you, Miss Tiala. Me? But why? You were quite clear when you told the court. You heard about the pistol from the defendant on the day of the murder. In other words, you knew what he was planning. Objection! Let me get this straight. You intend to tell us this lady stole the pistol from her fiancé? And killed a man in cold blood on his behalf? I've heard of people doing strange things for love, but this... It does seem a bit unfathomable, to be sure. I'm all for romance and for supporting your partner in life, to be sure. But I think I would hesitate at murder. I'd hope you do more than hesitate. But what if a different connection could be proven? A connection between the witness and the victim? We might find that she had a personal motive beyond wanting to help her fiancé. That would put things in a slightly different light. What possible connection are you suggesting here? So the thing about this is, Clavier seems curious on this. He's not like the other prosecutors that are constantly arguing. He's curious what you're gonna say. You know what I'm starting to think? I'm starting to think that the police never looked inside that safe. They didn't. I have evidence showing a connection between the witness, Miss Tiala, and the victim. It's Waki's chart. That looks like a medical chart. Found inside a safe at the Meraktis clinic. I'd like to draw the court's attention to the names written on the chart. What? Miss Tiala, whatever, why is your name on this chart? Look at her now. You can tell she's getting pissed. Well, care to explain the meaning of this, Miss Tiala? That's what she was trying to get. I'm not sure what you mean by meaning, Mr. Justice. Our warm little fiancé just froze over. I was on staff at that clinic until half a year ago. It was boring, so I quit. That's all. Is there a problem with that? Miss Tiala, you testified that you had no connection to the victim. And I don't, now. Now? I quit half a year ago, didn't I? So there's no connection. Let me guess, you're the kind of guy who can't rest until he knows every last detail of his girlfriend's past. Am I right? That's not true at all. Why I embrace the ones I love, past flaws and all. There's no connection now. Doesn't fly in a court of law. Yeah, that is true. She has a connection, so even if she worked for him in the past, she still has a connection to him. You know, that's this part is 100% realistic. Doesn't fly. He's one tough nut. He probably feels right at home with the Kitakis. You left your job at the Meraktis clinic, true. But you remain connected somehow. Very well, Mr. Justice. Show us evidence that proves the witness is still connected to the Meraktis clinic. The shoes. These sandals were found in the Meraktis clinic lobby. They're yours, aren't they? Ah. Well, who knows? I'm sure there are lots of people with those sandals. Well, we can bring in Waki to verify this, but he's gonna have a hard time testifying against her. So sorry, Fraulein, but your act isn't working. Your moment of hesitation just now cost you. What's with you? I thought you were on my side. Perhaps you are unaware that toes, leave toe prints. A simple analysis of these sandals will reveal all. Well, now we see, your true colors. I was wrong to cooperate with you from the beginning. I just wanted you to help get Waki back on the straight and narrow. Yeah, you're gonna get him sent to life in prison for something he didn't do. This court thinks you need to worry less about Waki and more about yourself. It sounds as though we need to hear a bit more about your story. Your sandals were found in the entrance to the clinic, which means you went there on the day of the murder. Well, there's little point in denying it. Very well, the witness will tell us about this visit. Why did you go to the Meraktis clinic that day? The Meraktis clinic. I did go to the clinic that day, my first time in half a year since I quit in January. I went to warn him. After all, I knew Waki had the pistol. The doctor always was a timid man, too timid to admit his own mistake. Why else would I have gone? I'm not hiding any dark secrets. I wanted to tell him to be careful, as an old friend. Yeah, no, this is BS. By mistake, you mean the mistake we heard about from the defendant. The botched operation. He was a timid, small man, but I never wished him harm. I just thought I should let him know, you know. That does make sense. Yes, but there is still one thing, which does not. Yeah, why wouldn't she go to the police? I wanted to go warn the doctor? No, you'd go to the police. What's that, Prosecutor Gavin? The sandals left in the lobby, of course. We can assume she wore those sandals to the clinic, yeah? Then why did she not wear them home? If it were me, I would have worn them home. Yep, I would have worn those sandals home too. So why were the sandals left behind? So, you see, Clavier knows she's guilty. He knows too. Ah, he pointed out the entire contradiction before me. There's probably a good explanation for this, right, Miss Tiala? Say, for instance, there happened to be a similar pair of sandals which, you wore home by mistake? Actually, that's right. I'm impressed, Mr. Gavin. Oh, it is nothing. There is, after all, no other possible explanation, yeah, Forehead? Oh, what the? No fair. He's filling the holes in her testimony. The defense may begin the cross-examination. I did go to the clinic that day, my first time in half a year since I quit in January. Around what time did you go to the clinic? I don't remember exactly, but it was after 9:30, I think. And that was the first time you had contacted Doctor Meraktis in half a year? Of course it was. He wasn't the kind of boss you made friends with. So why did you go to the clinic that day? I went to warn him, after all. I knew Walkie had the pistol. Did you want Dr. Meraktis to run away? Well, after I failed to stop Walkie, I thought that was the only other way to avoid the problem. Well, why wouldn't you go to the police? That's what I would ask her. Couldn't you have called? Why go in person? Yeah, well, she should have just called the police. I called several times that evening, but no one was in. The victim was busy driving home until after 9 PM that night, remember? She was probably driving the car. This was proven by the mirror yesterday, yeah? I thought if I warned him, he would run away for sure. Knowing the doctor always was a timid man, too timid to admit his own mistake. You mean that act of malpractice on Walkie, correct? If he had just told Walkie the truth in the beginning, none of this would have happened. True, that operation was the start of this whole affair. Oh, of course, if he'd told him, he might have been erased by the Kitakis much earlier. A disturbing thought. We know that the Meraktis clinic had ties to the Kitaki family. He probably couldn't have gone to the police, even if he wanted to. That's why I knew I had to warn him. Why else would I have gone? I'm not hiding any dark secrets. No dark secrets, eh? What? Look at me. However you want, Mr. Justice, you won't find a thing. He's hiding something, I know it. I must have some evidence that proves it, too. You're free to think whatever you like. I went to that clinic with only one thought in mind. I wanted to tell him to be careful as an old friend. But then you'd be betraying Walkie, wouldn't you? No, I did it for him, for us. You went to warn him so that her fiancé would not have to commit such a crime, yeah? I didn't want them to take my Walkie away. There's no way she went to that clinic just to warn him. Did you know why she went, Apollo? She wanted to get in the safe. Time to figure out what really happened at that clinic. And fast. Okay. I would say the bullet, that the gun's been fired twice. Because this proves that the gun was at the clinic. If this bullet can be traced back to that gun, it can prove that the gun was at the clinic. I wonder if this will work. Let's see.
Objection!
Ah, damn. Okay. Wait a second, Wait a second. You notice that, that bow tie that's on her arm. I wonder if that's... I wonder if she cut her arm on this when she smashed this lamp. And this on here. This cord runs to the lamp, has a red stain on it. Gotta wonder what left that stain. Maybe it was left there by red marker. Yes, I think she cut herself on that. That's what I think happened. But I think that's something that's probably gonna come up later. What is the contradiction here? I knew Walkie had the pistol.
Objection!
Aw, come on. That should technically work, saying that the bullet was... I'm gonna save here just in case, but I think it's the, she's saying I'm not hiding any dark secrets. I think it's just a report then.
Objection!
Yeah, okay, it was that the entire time. It was the report. So I was thinking about, should I show it again? Because I already showed it before, but the chart was found inside a safe in the doctor's office. Yes? Why would this one chart be in that safe? Miss Tiala, you know why it was, don't you? Mind filling me in? Dr. Meraktis didn't have the leisure of making mistakes. That's why he wrote up a false report and kept the truth locked away. Bad her, Doctor. And this is where you come in, Miss Tiala. The nurse who filed this chart was you, which means you knew about Walkie's failed operation. Interesting. You were in the same position as Dr. Meraktis. Kind of makes it hard to claim no connection, doesn't it? You're bold for a novice, I'll give you that. Mr. Justice, you must know I was only a nurse. The doctor is responsible for the chart's contents. Sure, the doctor might be responsible for the chart's contents, but the nurse is what signs everything in the end. She's responsible for a lot of the paperwork the doctor deals with. She knows what's in the paperwork. This chart business seems to be quite important. Please amend your testimony accordingly. Too bad, little attorney. My bracelet's reacting again. What is it, Apollo? I felt my bracelet tighten just now. Your bracelet? Just like yesterday, like you said. When a witness is unsure of something, their nervous habit gives them away. But I can't see anything, Apollo. Hey, then what's my bracelet reacting to? Wait, maybe. Yes, that has to be it. What has to be it? Your senses, Apollo. They must be sharper than mine. Huh? I can't see it, but you can sense it. I don't know about that, Trucy. I don't have some kind of special power or anything. Listen to me, Apollo. There's a weak point somewhere in Miss Tiala's testimony. We don't know what her nervous habit is. Well, then what do? You have to perceive it yourself, Apollo. With your eyes. And your senses. It's up to me and my bracelet. I don't know why, but the bracelet helps. Somehow, touching it helps me focus. Let's give it a shot and bring down that testimony. I'm convinced there's a wound underneath that I think she's hurt under that. Let me look at her hands. But your signature was on the chart. So, what does that have to do with this case? If there was something in that chart to make me look bad, I would have dealt with it. The only one responsible for that chart is the presiding doctor, Doctor Meraktis. She's hiding something, I can smell it. And I bet she's got a habit that gives it away. I just have to focus to find her nervous habit. Maybe it's time to give my bracelet a rub. The ring.
Gotcha!
Miss Tiala, you're unsure about something, aren't you? Not as unsure as you are. Wow, she sure showed you. Grr. Gotta focus and find her habit, find that. And I'll find the weak spot in her testimony. Let me look here again. She keeps moving her ring back and forth.
Gotcha!
Why go to the clinic for half-year-old chart now, you ask? But you know why you would go now, don't you? I don't know what you're talking about. It was quite clear, Miss Tiala, you have a nervous habit. The moment you said the word now, You used your right thumb to fiddle with your ring. What? He was unsure. I saw it. Now, that's the key word. The chart wasn't a part of your past. It was a clear and present threat. That's ridiculous. Why, if that were the case? I would have had 6 months to do something about it. Indeed. Eh? Which means something happened quite recently. Something to make that chart a problem for you now. I've got around the ropes now, I can feel it. I think Doctor Meraktis was gonna tell them about the chart. Time to strike the killing blow, with evidence. So, remember, he went in for the checkup. That's basically what happened, is Dr. Meraktis was gonna tell him. Miss Tiala, there's no use trying to hide it. The chart became a threat to you now because of this. The checkup report, this. A health checkup report, belonging to the defendant. The Kitakis are trying to get out of the business. The health checkup this month was their first ever. What did you think you heard about this? Eh? Oh, nothing. Why should I think anything? Oh, I would think you were positively beside yourself. Because you were afraid. You knew that Waki's chest x-ray would reveal. A full half year had passed since the operation. You thought you were home free. When the chart came back to haunt you. That's all, Your Honor. What just happened? Did the witness just admit to lying? I sensed it. There was a great aurora emanating from her forehead. Very cool. So the lady was lying, it seems. That's correct. She said she had no connection to the Meraktis clinic. But her connection was deep indeed. A bit too deep. If the Kitaki's got a hold of this chart with her name, she'd be finished. Isn't that right, Miss Tiala? You guessed it. Order! I did it! I broke her testimony. Amazing, Apollo. I didn't see it all. So, we caught her lying, but we still didn't prove that she killed him, though. That's gonna be the finishing blow. Daddy was right about you. Wait. Miss Tiala? It's true. That chart was bad news for me. That's why I went to meet the doctor that day. That's all. I told him about Waki and went home. It appears this cross-examination is far from over. What? She hid the truth from us. This is clear yet. It is not clear that this truth has anything to do with the case at hand. Well, no, it has a lot to do with it. Very well, the witness will add this to her testimony. And we'll have a bit more cross-examination. I was so close. You're still close. Keep on her, Apollo. Nothing happened at all. I warned him and left. How did Dr. Meraktis respond to the warning? Oh, he was quite surprised, panicky even. Who wouldn't be scared to learn that Kitaki was after them? Incidentally, this court is not afraid of any mobsters. Why, we had a life-threatening situation just yesterday right here in this courtroom. Yeah, real impressive the way you stood up to the attack of the amazing Mr. Hat, sir. After which, I carried you back to your chambers. Sounds like the judge had quite a fright. Nothing happened in Dr. Meraktis' office that day, huh? But what about the mess we found? Something definitely happened in that office, Apollo. I know. But we can't prove when it happened. Nor that Alita Tiala was in any way involved. That little blue, bow tie that's on her arm, I'm convinced that's a wound. She cut herself. She was smashing the lamp and she cut herself. Well, let's try putting some evidence up anyway. There's no way she went to the clinic just to warn him. Do you know why she went, Apollo? Time to figure out what really happened at that clinic. And fast. Hmm. Nothing happened at all. I warned him and left. I think it might be the bullet.
Objection!
Yup, it's the bullet. You say nothing happened in the doctor's office. I disagree. Take a look at this. What's that? It looks like a squished up ball of clay. Kind of like you, actually. This bullet was found in the Meraktis clinic office. Something did happen in that office, Miss Tiala.
Objection!
Enough of this joking around. The police investigated that clinic.
Objection!
Ah, but this was stuck inside the doctor's safe. Inside the safe? Look at how, I've never seen Clavier that nervous. I guess the police didn't check that far.
Objection!
But there is a problem. How can you say that bullet was fired on that day?
Objection!
Weren't you the one who explained rifling marks to us? The pistol was taken from the Kitaki mansion that day. If the marks in this bullet match the murder weapon, then that proves a firearm was discharged in that office on the day of the murder. Not bad, her forehead. Bailiff, have this bullet analyzed immediately. "30 minutes later, a report arrives. The rifling marks on both bullets are identical. Well, it seems as though the bullet in the safe was fired from the murder weapon. Perhaps the defense would like to state their position. The bullet in that safe proves one fact. A pistol was fired in that office on that day. And at that time of the firing, the safe was open. The safe which contained the top secret chart. You think someone was threatening Doctor Meraktis. It was probably her, but Mike, there's one thing I don't get here at this point is... Okay, so that explains it, because I was confused as to why the bullet was inside the safe, but there was no bullet hole outside the safe. So, the safe had to be opened when the gun was fired, but why would they fire in the safe and then the safe gets closed? That just makes... Like, she wanted that report in the first place, so why didn't she take the report with her? There's something not adding up here. In order to open the safe. Only one person was in a position to do such a thing. Our witness, Alita Tiala. Order, order, order! Mr. Justice, where are you going with this? Are you accusing the witness? Alita Tiala knew about Waki Kitaki's botched operation. She got engaged to him without telling him about it. As long as that bullet remained in his chest, his days were numbered. What if she married him, and then the bullet finally reached its destination? What? That reminds me. Apparently, the Kitakis have been asserting themselves in lawful business practices. They're making quite a great deal of money. A fortune, if you will. Yeah, so that's her motive. Is she knows that Waki is dying and she wants the family fortune. That's why she married him. Nefarious. So she planned to marry him just to get her hands on this fortune. You keep talking trash about my Alita, and I'll sue you, lawyer man. Oh no. Me? Yeah, you said you'd abuse my Alita. I think you mean accuse. Same difference. Well, you can't have her, she's mine. It was me, I shot that Dr. Me. He left me to die, so I left him to die too, there in that park. Waki. Just cool down a second, please. You keep your hands off my Alita or I'll... T? T. Ha 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 ha. Miss Tiala. I'm sorry, it's been so long since I've laughed so hard. Something funny? Waki. Wake up and smell reality. Alita, baby? The signature on the chart. The engagement. I mean, come on. It's so obvious. Even for a brainless, spoiled brat such as yourself. Alita, your honesty is like a breath of foul air, Fraulein. Hey, I wasn't getting out of this clean anyway. So the family fortune is what you're really after. That's right, I wanted the money. No way, that's whack. I ain't trying to hear that. Should have done the wedding earlier, oh well. By the way, can I ask you a question? Who, me? I believe you said you were going to abuse me. Accuse. Of what crime, might I ask? Huh. Oh, I'm a bad girl, sure. I got close to that brat because I wanted his money. But he was the one with the pistol. He could have fired it into the safe after I've already left the clinic. What? I would never do a thing like that. It was definitely that silly brat. Wait, but... what are you talking about? Trucy, you had the most to lose if the chart was found. But I didn't have a pistol, now did I? Well, you could have taken walkies. You think he'd have mentioned that, no? All I've heard him say is it was me, I shot him. Objection! That's only because he's trying to protect you. Sorry to intrude in this lovely conversation. Lovely? But the two of you are forgetting one critical point. What? What point? Certainly the Fraulein wanted that chart. You assume she threatened the doctor in opening that safe, but then... wouldn't she have taken the chart? Yeah, that was my point earlier. Oh. You see? That chart wouldn't have been left in that safe. Heck. Why was the gun fired and then the report left? He's right. Miss Tiala. Yes? It is clear to this court that you are not a very good fiancé. Oh, I'm flattered. Perhaps it's time you told us the truth. Tell us about yourself, including your actions and whereabouts on that day. Don't forget, we've proven that you were at the Meraktis clinic on the day of the crime. Yes, I went to the clinic that day to speak to the doctor. I wanted that chart, but I failed to get it, so I went back to the clinic later. In any case, I didn't shoot him. You don't even have proof I stole that pistol, do you? And that brat was spotted in the park at the moment of the crime. Frankly, I don't think it matters if Doctor Meraktis was shot in the temple or not. You went back later. That chart was dangerous, you understand? I needed to get rid of it. That's why I went that day. But you couldn't get the chart then, could you? And later that night, Dr. Meraktis was shot. I heard about the shooting, waited a day, but then I had to go back. No easy feat with the cops all over the place. Ah, that was you. Ah, Apollo, that sound, it came from behind his door. Someone's in there. A break-in, they left through that window. So you were the burglar. That was you two? If only I had one more minute. Then I could have opened that safe and gotten the chart. What? That's trespassing and brazen at that. Oh, is this a trial for trespassing now? Besides, you can't blame a girl for wanting to protect yourself. They are gangsters, you know. In any case, Mr. Justice, your cross-examination. Admitting the little crime to avoid the big one, eh? This is, by the way, this is actually a real thing, is that criminals will actually admit to smaller crimes just so that they can avoid the bigger crime, because they might say, oh, I was there for another thing that had happened. This sometimes has actually happened. Yes, I went to the clinic that day to speak to the doctor. Hold it! Why that day? That brat was uncontrollable. He was ready to kill. And that would bring in the police. And that chart would become evidence. And I'd be hung out to dry. But the police didn't check the safe, did they? Well, they thought the crime scene was the park. I'll make sure the responsible parties feel the heat. Such sloppiness won't be tolerated, yeah? I'm kinda thankful for that sloppiness myself, actually. I wanted that chart, but I failed to get it, so I went back to the clinic later. Later. When I heard what happened, well, I was too scared to do anything that day. So I waited until the day after the 16th, was it? Of course, you and that meddling kid had to get in my way. But why did Dr. Meraktis keep the chart around? It was clearly dangerous for him. He could have burned it. Because he's a coward. The chart was his insurance. Insurance? My signature on that chart, to be more specific. That made sure I couldn't betray him. In any case, I didn't shoot him. You don't even have proof I stole that pistol, do you?
Hold it!
But you could have stolen it. Could have? Is this some kind of new definition of proof? Well, we'll ask Walkie, he'll tell us.
Objection!
Might I remind you that this is a cross-examination. You might want to keep your baseless theories to yourself. He's right, isn't he? And that brat was spotted in the park at the moment of the crime.
Hold it!
Yeah, but... But what? You have nothing to say. This case is over. It was over the moment that brat was seen in the park. What's the point in dragging it out any further? Frankly, I don't think it matters if Doctor Meraktis was shot in the temple or not.
Hold it!
The doctor was shot in the right temple, yes. So it seems. Let's review the facts again, shall we? If the killer shot from this location, the bullet would have struck our victim square in the forehead. However, the entry wound, it's because she was behind the cart, that's why. Was in the right temple. Yes, we heard testimony on this yesterday. At the time of the shooting, the witness was standing here. Just before the gun was fired, he shouted. The victim turned his head to look. And was shot.
Objection!
But that testimony was proven to be a lie. Our egregious party snatcher, Mr. Stickler, did witness the crime. He was on the other side, and you see where that sidewalk is right there, the little path? That's where she was standing right behind the cart there. But he was standing to the north, next to the trash can where he tossed those panties. If Mr. Stickler shouted from this location, the bullet couldn't hit his right temple. Silly attorney. What? What? Do you remember what you had for breakfast that morning? You remember, Trucy? I always have a glass of milk for breakfast. What matters is one thing. The doctor was shot in his right temple. If that's the case, there can only be one explanation. The panties guy was mistaken.
Objection!
But his location was proven. You can't write that off as him being mistaken.
Objection!
Then why don't you show us her forehead? Show you? What? Must I explain everything? Very well, let's recap. If the witness panties guy was standing to the north, then where was the shooter standing? From what location did the killer shoot the victim? But wait, if the witness was standing there, how could anyone shoot the victim in the right temple? I merely laid out the facts for us. It is up to the one possessing the shiny forehead to show us. If you can, that is. Walkie-talkie was standing at the killer mark. Wesley Sticker wrote the witness mark. And of course, Pal Meraktis with the victim mark. Let's hear what the defense has to say. Where was the killer standing when they shot the victim? At the killer mark, at the witness mark, someplace else. Someplace else. As the facts stand now, we can't explain this crime without contradicting ourselves at some point. But I know why. The real killer shot from an entirely different location. What are you talking about? I don't see any other place. Apparently, Mr. Justice does. Let's hear it. Where in the park did the killer shoot the victim from?
Objection!
It's time to raise the roof and the stakes. Eh? Penalties are such frightening things, don't you think? But what if they were a bit more terrifying? Like so. Double penalty. Her forehead wishes to take us in a new direction. Then he must be ready for the challenges ahead. Challenge accepted. Justice time. Are you sure, Apollo? The key is the witness, Mr. Stickler's testimony. If we believe that, we know where he stood. And the victim turned when he shouted. There's only one place the killer could have been. The killer shot the victim from... I'm gonna save just in case it, Oh, I can't even save here. The killer was right here. This is where the killer shot from. I hadn't thought of that. None of us did, Your Honor. And this explains the wound in the right temple, how? I hadn't thought of that. And using diversion, Mr. Justice, penalty, Hang on. What I was worried about is when you point to those maps, it's always not the most accurate, Yes, amusing. Like your career, Mr. Justice. Fine, rub it in. Perhaps you would be so kind as to try again. This is where the slipper was. I remember, the slipper mark. This is where she stood. This is where the killer shot from. Great. It's... Yeah, it's trying to, gonna put right here. Let's see, right here. It's doing it again. It's... Damn. Is it inside the cart, then? I believe we all owe a debt of gratitude to Miss Alita Tiala. What do you mean? Thanks to you, we had a chance to review the crime. And this time we were prepared, so I was overthinking it then. I was thinking that she was standing behind the cart, but she was actually standing inside the cart. We know that Wesley Stickler was telling the truth. We should have listened to him from the beginning. Wesley Stickler was standing next to the trash can when he saw the two men. He shouted just as he told us in his testimony. And the victim turned to look in his direction. A shot was fired. The victim was hit in the right temple. Oh no. Oh yes. Which direction was his right temple facing at that moment? That's right, towards the noodle stand. Order, order, order! So you're saying that the killer was inside the noodle stand? Let's think about this a bit more, shall we? You say the killer was inside the noodle stand, which would mean the victim, Doctor Meraktis, came to the park, wheeling his own murderer in the cart behind him. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I'd think you'd notice if you were pulling someone along. Objection! There's something we should worry about before that. Why was he pulling the noodle stand in the first place? Yeah, I understand now. She got in the noodle stand and she was holding him at gunpoint and basically threatened him to go to the park. Objection! Let's deal with our problems one at a time, shall we? Someone was hiding in the stand. We have not come this far to talk about possibilities. Let's talk about proof, baby. Show us evidence that proves someone was in that stand. The empty plates! That's what it was. It's that's why the clinic had so many empty plates. It was to make room for her being in the back of the cart. That's why. Can I prove that? You want evidence that someone was in the stands, the plates. I've got it right here. Intriguing. Let's see what you've got. Show us the proof that someone is hiding in a noodle stand. Bots, Prosecutor Gavin? Ah, great. It's, I messed that one up. It's, So I'm convinced I have the right answer. I'm convinced it is the plates, but I'm overthinking it. I'm going farther along because all the plates that were found at the clinic, it's because she took all the plates out so she could get in the back. Okay, got the proof. The Meraktis Clinic, and they're covered with paint. These slippers were found in a trash can near the crime scene. And a single slipper print was found at the scene. Right next to the noodle stand. Oh, Miss Tiala, your toe print was found in the left slipper. In other words, this is proof you were inside that noodle stand. Yet there was only one slipper mark found at the scene. Can this be called a footprint in good faith? Observe the diagram. A park pathway runs next to the slipper mark. A slipper wouldn't leave a trace on a cobblestone path. Yet you still cannot say this is a footprint, yeah? Why not? You have an impression left by a single slipper. What if it were on the stand and simply fell to the ground? That's just dumb. One more thing. A noodle stand is typically cluttered with the tools of the noodle-making trade. There's no room for a person to ride in there. So yeah, I was right on this. I was right. It was just I was overthinking it. I went a step ahead. But it's all because all the empty plates are at the clinic. She took all those plates out. That's why they were there. You have a point. Could someone have hidden in that stand? Apollo, I think I might be onto something. I think I figured out one of our pieces of evidence. In order to make room in the stand, some things would have to be... Well, Mr. Justice, do you have proof that someone could have hidden in that stand? I can prove one thing. Someone did scheme to clear space in that stand. The bowl. This is a noodle bowl from the stolen Eldoon's noodle stand. Yes, and what about it? We discovered a large quantity of these bowls yesterday. in the lobby of the Meraktis clinic. A large quantity of noodle bowls in the victim's clinic. Mr. Muldoon was very clear about these bowls. Well, I don't care who did it. Without that stand, I'm finished. All my noodle bowls were in there, too. Yet the bowls were removed. That night, there was space inside that noodle stand. Space created at the Meraktis clinic, no less. Right around the time that you were there. Miss Alita Tiala. Stop. I won't listen to any more of these wild fantasies. No, not fantasies. They're worse lies than that spoiled brat's pickup lines. I would like to remind the witness of her current status. This court does not consider you entirely innocent. Show me I'm an innocent, I'll show you a fairy tale. In any case, the defense has somehow made it its point. The witness had both a motive and an opportunity to kill Doctor Meraktis. More fairy tales. This whole trial is a fairy tale. And please, pull us back down to reality, Miss Tiala. I'm giving you one last chance to explain yourself. This is it. Why was Dr. Meraktis pulling that stand that night? And what was Alita Tiala doing inside it? Time to get to the bottom of this case. Tiala's explanation. That night, I went to ask Dr. Meraktis for the chart. I had no intention of ever letting that chart fall into the Kitaki family's hands. But Dr. Meraktis didn't understand. For some reason, he thought the Kitakis had sent me. So I gave up and went home. All I did was talk to him. No. You knew about the botched operation. So you tried to get rid of the chart to save yourself. I won't make excuses. And I did warn the good doctor. I gave him a chance. I told him that brat got his health checkup report. And that he was coming to settle the score. I see. Very well, Mr. Justice. Begin your cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. This is the last testimony. Either I perceive the truth, or it's over. That night, I went to ask Dr. Meraktis for the chart. So you did go to steal that chart. Were you listening? I said I asked him for it. The victim was a man in good health. I don't see how she could have coerced him. True, it would have been impossible without a pistol. But what if she did have a pistol? I'll admit I wanted the chart. That much is true. My reason was simple. I had no intention of ever letting that chart fall into the Kitaki family's hands. It certainly would have put a damper on your wedding plans, I'd say. Not only that, if the Kitakis had gotten the chart, I'd probably be with Dr. Meraktis now, pulling that great noodle stand in the sky. It seems our witness was in a fix as well. Who would want to die pulling a noodle stand? When I die, it will be, by disappearing mysteriously in the middle of a magic act. Could we be a little less morbid, please? So you see, I needed that chart. But Dr. Meraktis didn't understand. He didn't understand. He wouldn't listen to a word I was saying. The moment he saw me, he started to tremble. I thought, what a sad excuse for a man. Please don't smile like that anymore. It's creepy. He was practically delusional. For some reason, he thought the Kitakis had sent me. They sent you? He thought the Kitakis had sent me to get the chart. It makes some sense. You are their son's fiancé. Don't make me laugh. The Kitakis send me. They don't play that way. If they'd known about that chart, they would have gone in their guns blazing. But I couldn't convince the trembling doctor otherwise. So I gave up and went home. All I did was talk to him. If that was really all that happened, what were all those noodle bowls doing there? How should I know? There weren't any bowls when I went. I know that much. Why don't you let me be and go look for your killer someplace else, alright? Do I detect uncertainty there? This is my last chance. Apollo, any word from your bracelet? Yeah, actually. I felt it'd respond. I couldn't see a thing. It's up to you, Apollo. Time to receive the truth. Here comes justice. She's keeping her hand down there. It's her fingers here. Yep. It's this. This is it. Okay. Let me save my, game here in case. All I did was talk and lie. What? Show me proof. I'm pretty sure about this one. I think I'm getting the hang of this. A little slip in confidence, and they give it all away. The proof is you, Miss Tiala. All I did was talk to him. And you claim yet you can't, hide your own nervous twitch when you say those words. My twitch? What are you talking about? You have a habit of scratching the area of your neck around the edge of your scarf. What? This is working better than I'd hope. Her unconscious actions tell the truth she won't say. Habits and lies. 2 dots. Connect the dots and find the truth. Don't look at me like that. I told you the truth. It seems that when you recall what really happened in that office, you can't keep your hands off your neck, can you? It seems that nervous habits are unconscious reactions that manifest when someone is trying to hide something. You can't hide behind your scarf, Miss Tiala. Something happened between you and the victim in the Meraktis clinic office. And I've got proof that shows exactly what happened. The lamp.
Take that!
What's that? You're touching your scarf again. Did she cut herself on the neck? There's something unusual about this lamp. The bulb is broken, and there's a red splotch on the cord. Eh? Seeing how you hide your neck, I think it can come up with a plausible explanation for the lamp's state. Well, spit it out. This talking in circles nonsense is killing me. Very well. The answer is very simple, Miss Alita Tiala. Please remove your scarf. So I was right, she was wounded, but it was not on her arm, it was on her neck. Did the doctor try to stab her with the bulb?
Objection!
But if he tried to stab her, there'd be a lot more blood on the neck. The neck has a ton of blood to it. This is a trial to determine what happened in that park, yet we seem to have drifted off target.
Objection!
We'll find out soon enough if we're drifting. As soon as the witness removes her scarf. I won't do it. This is insane. I'm an unrelated third party. You can't order me to remove my clothing. Miss Tiala, I'm afraid you've forgotten what's already been proven. What? You're hardly unrelated. Please remove your scarf. No. No! I knew it. So I was right, wasn't I, Miss Alita Tiala? Your neck. That isn't what I think it is. Something did happen that night at the Meraktis clinic. Wait. That's... The shape on her neck. That's a cord. I thought that she cut herself on the bulb. He was trying to strangle her. Those are strangulation marks. You need to get that chart back no matter what it took. Even if you had to steal your fiancé's pistol to do it. But wait. Looking at this lamp, and the witness's neck. It looks like the very opposite happened. Exactly. The victim in the clinic that night was this witness specifically. You tried to threaten Dr. Meraktis and he attacked you. That's what happened that night at the Meraktis clinic. Herc. Order, order, order! Will someone please tell me what really happened? I told you the truth already. I went to the clinic that night to warn Dr. Meraktis. That gangster knows everything. He's coming for you. Looks like my clinic's seen its last patient. We have to get rid of that chart. Quick, open your safe, give it to me. So you can save your own skin? What? I know what you're up to. You want in with the family. And if they see that chart, you're finished. Leaving me holding the short straw. But if I'm going down, I want some company, you. And what happened next? He jumped at me and knocked me to the floor. Then he took that cord. Cal Meraktis was serious, deadly serious. He really tried to strangle me. I must have blacked out. So you were the victim. And the red splotch on the cord was your lipstick. I didn't want to remember that night. That's why I didn't bring it up. There, are you happy now? Hey, I was out cold, almost killed. And you claim I didn't snuck into that noodle stand. But how could I? Well, one thing is clear. We now know what really happened at the Meraktis clinic. And it would seem that our victim was not entirely without blame himself. I'm sorry. I get so nervous just thinking of it. It's hard to breathe. I've told you everything. Can I go home now? You bear some responsibility for events that day, true. Yet, if you were also a victim, this court would owe you some sympathy. Well, Mr. Justice, I believe this clears up the remaining questions for Miss Tiala. When did this happen? Suddenly, everyone's sympathizing with her. I don't know what to think anymore, Apollo. I mean, is that it? Do we know everything we need to know about Miss Tiala? Very well, this finishes the cross-examination of this.
Objection!
Heh. Not so fast, this party's just getting started. Now we rock. What? Those spikes on your head are softer than they look. Or do you not have the stomach to go all the way? Prosecutor Gavin? Cal Meraktis choked Alita Tiala. He fell unconscious. But what happened next? He's right, there is more we don't know. But she was choked hard enough to leave that mark. She would have been out for a while. Even still, what if it was her in that noodle stand? Alita Tiala half dead, Dr. Meraktis pulling that stand, and a bullet fired from inside the noodle stand. What if it's all true? Oh, I get what happened now. Okay, I understand. I know what happened. She didn't force him into gunpoint with the noodle stand. And it's the dog. The dog is the key to this. Because the dog recognizes the doctor. That's why the dog didn't go after the doctor. He took her when she was knocked out and put her in the noodle stand. He thought he killed her, probably. He was gonna dump the body, and he was gonna use a noodle stand to move her unconscious body. That's what he was doing. But she woke up. That's probably what happened. And then Waki bumped into them at the park, or Waki saw what he was doing. We might have already figured out what truly happened that night. He put her in the... He was trying to get rid of her. Miss Alita Tiala, as you can see, we're not through with you just yet. You really want to blame me for this murder, don't you? You too, Prosecutor Gavin. Me? Fraulein, I only wish to know the truth. Well, let's go back over what we've learned up till now. On the day of the murder, Waki saw his checkup report, from which he learned about the bullet still inside him. So he took a pistol from the family stash, with the intent to give Dr. Meraktis some of his own medicine. And Miss Tiala heard about this from Waki, so she went to the Meraktis clinic ahead of him, in order to get rid of the chart with her signature. But then, something happened. Sounds like you figured it all out. But remember, I was the victim. I was out cold. But what about Dr. Meraktis? That does seem to be the problem. He had just strangled Alita Tiala, perhaps, he fought to death. What did he do after his crime? I was just knocked out, not dead. From the state of his clinic and the scene in the park, I think it's clear what the good doctor did next. Well, her forehead? Care to guess? Well, Mr. Justice, what did Dr. Meraktis do? Maybe he did think he killed Alita Tiala. You have evidence to show what he did next. So he opened the safe and he fired a bullet in the safe, but why? Why would he do that? Why would he fire a bullet in the safe? He fired the gun next. That's the only thing I'm confused about. Why would he fire a single bullet in the safe? Why would he do that? What is the reasoning for that? I'm trying to think right now. Why would he fire a bullet in the safe? He thought he killed her. He has to get rid of the body now. He has the gun. Damn. I don't know if it's the bullet or the noodle stand. I think it's the bullet that's next. Ah, great. It's... Yeah, it has to be the cart then. That's what it pretty much is. It's the cart. He pulled the cart, but the bullet, it still hasn't been explained. That's what it wasn't. It wasn't explained. I wasn't able to save before, unfortunately. So what he did next was he put her in the noodle stand. Checking all my evidence. As his next move, Dr. Meraktis stole Guy Eldoon's noodle stand. What? Killing me disturbed him that much? So much he randomly stole a noodle stand? It wasn't so random. Remember all the bowls in the clinic's foyer. Bowls that belonged inside the stand. I think it's pretty obvious, don't you? That stand was at the clinic. However, the question is, why did he remove the bowls? Maybe because the stand was heavy? Or he wanted to put something in the stand in their place. Ah. Wait, you don't mean... I do. Dr. Meraktis did replace those bowls with something. Your corpse, Miss Tiala. My corpse. Dr. Meraktis panicked. He thought he'd killed you. His next move would be to dispose of the body. That's crazy talk. You're all crazy. Then let's think about it. Logically. The doctor had a place to dispose of you in mind. But on his way there, who should he run into but the defendant, Waki Kitaki?
Objection!
I question your logic. What's this, Prosecutor Gavin? The park is a dead end. Why would he head in that direction to begin with? He was gonna dump her in the water. That's what he was gonna do. Look at the water that's at the end of the park. The Meraktis clinic, the noodle stand, he made a straight path towards the park. He was gonna dump her body in the water. That's right. He had no reason to go there. Oh, now I get it. It was a trick. That spoiled brat made him do it. He made that doctor steal the stand. Tell me, why would someone go to a dead end? Unless that park was his destination. What? Apparently, the defense has an idea. Tell us where Dr. Meraktis was headed with the stand. Here, please show us on the diagram. To where exactly was the victim dragging the stand? The water. There, that's a river. Yes, Your Honor. I scarcely need to explain why. A perfect place to dispose of a body. He was going to throw me into that river? He didn't have many other options, Fraulein. I believe this clears up all of the remaining questions. The victim pulling the stand and the defendant before him. And inside the stand, you, Miss Alita Tiala. And then, the denouement. Wesley Stickler of panty-snatching fame walks up. Seeing the two men, he shouts in that instant. There was a second gun. The second gun was probably thrown in the water. That's probably what happened to it. It was blown downstream. So I shot him? You were the only one who could have stolen Waki's pistol. It had to be you. Well, Miss Tiala. Nice work. You mean I'm right? I mean, you've done a fine job dreaming up a story. To get that spoiled brat off the hook. You're the one who's dreaming. Apollo's backed up everything he said with facts. If you're so sure he's making it up, give us another reason. Why was Dr. Meraktis pulling that stand through the park? Who knows? But there's one gaping hole in your logic, the two guns. I think Mr. Gavin knows whereof I speak. Where of what? I can't believe she's still trying to deny this. Is this true, Prosecutor Gavin? A save here just to be safe. Must I always be the one to point out her forehead's errors? Maybe there's really is something. I believe that Fraulein speaks of her doctor's, car. His car. That's right. The Meraktis clinic has that big garage. In which sat a green sports car, was it? Why would he steal the stand in the first place? If he wanted to carry a body, he would have used his car. And so we find our victim without a probable cause to steal that stand. And our defense without a case. I have an idea. You know that green car? I bet it wouldn't run. It was broken. Because it hit Phoenix? What an excellent counter-argument, Fraulein. Too bad you're quite wrong. Eh? Don't tell me you've forgotten what happened to your daddy. Daddy? That's right. That night, the car that hit Mr. Wright was that green sports car. Oh yes, I'd nearly forgotten about it. Afterwards, he drove it back to that garage. It ran fine. That's right. So why did he use his beloved sports car, He didn't use the car because I get it now. Because Stickler ran into, he tried to use the car, but the car wouldn't start, and the car wouldn't start because Stickler was running away from Trucy, and he hid in the garage, and he put the panties in the muffler, and when the muffler was clogged, the car wouldn't start. A glaring contradiction, to be sure. More glaring than your forehead. It's the panties. No. He couldn't use the car because it wasn't working. Order. Well, Mr. Justice, why didn't Dr. Meraktis use his car to carry the body? Is that a groan of surrender I hear? Some advice, now's a good time to review all you know. Everything you've learned over the last 2 days. Everything I've learned. It's like he's trying to help you. He wants you to... He knows... Clavier knows the answer. He just wants to lead you into it. Mr. Justice, this contradiction casts doubt on your entire case. This is truly your last chance. The defense will explain to us what happened that night. Someone else stole the stand. He carried the body in the car. The car didn't run. I have an idea. It's all coming together. That night, Dr. Meraktis couldn't use his car. Because remember, Stickler was at the garage before the murder because he lost his cell phone there. The cell phone proves that Stickler was there before the murder, and then Stickler went to the park and he saw the murder. Now you're making even less sense than usual. Not according to my information, Miss Tiala. Put one and one together and the explanation is simple. If it's so simple, perhaps you can show us some evidence. Show us proof why the car wouldn't run that night. The panties. Let's see now. Panties again? All sorts of things come out of my panties. Even the truth. Another crime was committed the night of the murder. The theft of those panties, the latest in a string of similar thefts, actually. But that night, the snatcher was caught in the act. A brave young girl chased the thief until he hid. In the Meraktis Clinic garage. What? The snatcher hid the panties there before running. Perhaps someone in this court remembers where he hid them. Why, weren't they found in the car's exhaust pipe? Exactly. By the way, I learned something yesterday. A very important piece of information. And I learned it from you, Prosecutor Gavin. So you were here investigating, yet he talked about the exhaust. And I was on my way home when my hog gave up the ghost. Your hog. My motorcycle won't start. A clogged exhaust pipe. Too bad. It looks like such a nice bike, too. Hard to believe that it could break from just that. Cars, motorbikes, they're all the same. Clog the exhaust and they won't run. My, how interesting. While Miss Tiala and the doctor were struggling, the panty snatcher snuck into the Meraktis garage. From that time until the time we found these, that car wouldn't start. But what? That's why Dr. Meraktis had to use a noodle stand. It was the next closest thing he could think of. Well, Miss Tiala, this wraps your doubts up quite nicely, I think. So it does. Where? Where am I? So dark, can't see. Cramped. The pain, my throat's burning. What's your problem? You, Doc, I know what you did. Ah. Walkie? You lied to me, so you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give you a taste of your own medicine, man. Wait, let me explain. But fine, I'll give you your last request. Listen, you're being tricked, but not how you think. It's not just me. No! He'll ruin everything. I have to stop him. Cease this at once, you two. Funny, this isn't the way it was supposed to turn out. Oh well, too bad. There's still one mystery. How did you manage to disappear from that stand? In the silence after the shot, I heard the witness running. I believe we heard as much from Wesley Stickler. He went to use a public phone to inform the police. Which is when I made my escape. Which is when you left that slipper print. Doctor Meraktis didn't bother taking my slippers off. I threw them out after I stepped in that, paint, though. That was your mistake. No, my biggest mistake was coming to you for help, Mr. Justice. Hey? I believed in you. You and your anything agency. If anyone would get Walkie declared guilty, it was you. Yeah, so she thought that you were gonna fail. I believe we reached a conclusion of sorts. Prosecutor Gavin, how is Miss Alita Tiala doing? She's confessed to everything. We're processing her arrest now. Prosecutor Gavin sure seems calm for someone who just lost. I think he already knew. He figured out she was the killer a while ago. Some advice. Now's a good time to review all you know. Everything you've learned over the last 2 days. He lost, but I didn't exactly win either. Something the matter? Her forehead? Looks like it's time to announce a verdict. Court is adjourned. June 17, 4:12 p.m. District Court, Defendant, Lobby, number 2. Great job, Apollo. You did it. Yeah, we did it. Somehow. Walkie's off the hook. Free to become the gangster he's always wanted to be. And he has you to thank. Hey, attorney man. You're gonna pay for what you did to my Alita, Holmes. Or to blame, I guess. You give my Alita back. Stupid pointy-head attorney with a death wish. Enough, Walkie. Ah, Mr. Kitaki. It's high time you opened your eyes, Walkie. What do you know, old man? I think it's about time you opened yours. Giving up the life, trying to become some kind of businessman. Don't talk about what you don't understand, Walkie. I'm afraid the guard is going to throw them both out. If not in jail, wouldn't that be a happy ending? Hey, maybe we can help them out. We know why Mr. Kitaki needs to make so much money. Maybe we should tell Walkie. Oh, Walkie, Apollo has something to tell you. Huh? I do? Way to put me on the spot. Hey, what's that? Show him the reason why, Apollo. Why is Mr. Kitaki trying to become a businessman? What is it? Why is he trying to become a businessman? Damn, I gotta think carefully about this one here. Why is he trying to become a businessman? Did he feel guilty over the clinic? Oh, he's trying to help his son? Is that it? Think about it, Walkie. Think about your condition. Yeah, I was struggling a little bit, but I was thinking about it. It was because he was dying. He needs an operation. I talked with your mother, Little Plum, yesterday. It pays, but we need a lot of money right now. Clean money, that is. She doesn't mean... You aren't really... Are you? I searched the globe, and I found one. A doctor who can take that bullet out of you, Walkie. But it's an expensive procedure. But man, but you got, plenty of money already, don't you? I won't use it. It was the gangster life that did this to you, Walkie. I want to help you, and I want to do it clean. Please understand, Walkie. Dad. Man, I see how it is, old man. Always you looking out for... Walkie? Listen good, old man. One day, I'm gonna take you out, then we'll see who's the OG. You try to hide in your business suit, I'll find you. Stupid old geezer. My Walkie. No, it's as it should be. Mr. Kitaki, I liked him more without the puppy dog eyes. I'm glad to have met you. I'm not so good with words. But I know a professional job when I see one, thank you. Well, that's why I'm the professional. Who, me? I don't think... Someday, I'll bake you one of our latest, the Kitaki lime pie. He's opening a pie shop? So long. And he was gone. Well, let's head back, Apollo. To the right anything agency. Hey, since when do I work at your agency? We make a good team. Don't just stand there, let's get going. Huh, why not? She did help me out. And there's a few questions that still need answers. Like this power of mine that she showed me. And my bracelet. If anyone can help me figure it out, it's her. Though I can't say I care much for what her father has become. Oh, that's right. We have to go someplace first. Huh? Where? Way to claim our reward, why to claim our reward from Mr. Eldoon? Salty noodles, right. You gotta stand back already. Oh, and after that, you can come see my show, with a special appearance by the amazing Mr. Hat. Oh, it's special, alright. Please, anything but him. Yeah, so that wraps it up, guys. There is still way more cases in this game, so this is not the end here. But thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you did, do drop a like. Let me know what you think, how the case ended. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. And one last thing I'll say about Kitaki is, you know, he's a fictional character, but there are very few people out there actually like him. Like I said earlier in my other part, that these gangsters, these mafias, they run a lot of legitimate businesses as fronts, and it's a way for them to hide their cash, and they could easily just give up the criminal lifestyle and just run it, still live comfortable lives just on those businesses that they own alone, the legitimate, actual legal ones. Well, a lot of times they don't. There's obsessive money, and it's just like a sickness, a disease. They're just obsessed with the criminal lifestyle. So there are very few people out there actually like that are actually willing to give up the criminal lifestyle, but hopefully we get to see those characters again, because those are some of the most interesting, like a former, like a Yakuza boss who steps down. That's one of the most interesting, more interesting Ace Attorney characters that I've seen. So hopefully we see him in a future part. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.